Welcome to another one of my daily journals here on Shawn Thinking Out Loud. For those that don't know, today is my birthday, a ripe old age of 57. Just another day, if you want my opinion. Once you hit a certain age in your birthday, it's just now you're counting down days, not counting days. Counting down to when you can finally go to sleep and not wake up. Hence why most of you, when you die, are going to leave a foul odor. That's it. But I'm writing books. I'm doing these videos. These videos will disappear someday. But until then, someday maybe they'll be on like a hard drive that some archaeologist will find and go, who's this dude? Anyway, yeah, happy birthday to me, whatever. But let's see what else comes in today. Probably something more interesting than my birthday. I was just over checking out one of Grumpy Farmer's videos. I go over to his videos because that's where the idiots go. Because they don't want to come over and play with me because they get destroyed over there. They'll ignore it and just keep talking to Grumpy because, well, he doesn't have time to do what I do. So they try to get him triggered. But they were talking about USAID and it just popped into my head. Has anybody else noticed that since USAID has been pretty much shut down, it's still open on a skeleton crew, but since it's been pretty much shut down, monies for Democrat candidates has sort of dried up. Weird, huh? I wanted to take a moment to share some thoughts inspired by a video I recently watched from Jesse Enkamp, the karate nerd. It got me thinking about martial arts, especially since I live in the heart of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu country. Now, before we dive in, let me clarify, I'm not bashing Jiu-Jitsu or any other martial art. Everyone has their own preferences and reasons for training, so let's keep it respectful and celebrate what we love about our chosen paths. Jesse entered a Jiu-Jitsu tournament as a complete newbie, never having trained in the art before, and won. How did he do it? When his opponents went to their backs, he simply stood there. It's an interesting strategy that highlights how different backgrounds can create unique approaches to competition. Think about it. If you're coming from a striking background like karate or taekwondo, you might be more comfortable standing up and keeping your distance. Jesse's win reminds us that sometimes the simplest tactics can lead to success. In martial arts, as in life, perspective is everything. Back when I started my martial arts journey, things were different. Jiu-Jitsu practitioners didn't just fall onto their backs, they took control of the fight by bringing opponents down with techniques borrowed from judo. This blend of styles created an exciting dynamic that kept everyone on their toes. Today's tournaments often see competitors willingly going to the ground without hesitation. While there's nothing wrong with this approach, it's part of the sport, there's something thrilling about standing your ground and controlling the pace of a match instead of simply reacting to your opponent's moves. Imagine if jiu-jitsu tournaments incorporated more elements from judo. We could witness throws and takedowns alongside groundwork, making for a more diverse and engaging spectacle for both participants and spectators. Ultimately, what matters most is that each individual enjoys their journey in martial arts. Whether you prefer striking disciplines like boxing or kickboxing or grappling arts like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling, every path has its merits. It's essential to acknowledge that everyone trains for different reasons: self-defense, fitness, discipline, or competition, and that's perfectly okay. The beauty of martial arts lies in its diversity and adaptability. There truly is something for everyone. Let's celebrate this variety rather than critique each other's choices. After all, who are we to judge someone else's passion? Encouraging one another fosters growth within our community. So there's this fool called the Tony Michaels podcast. Now, I've commented on his stuff. They ignore me pretty much. I don't care. I don't watch his videos, don't watch his podcast. He's Looney Leftist. But anyway, he put up this poll. It says, how do you want Trump to leave office? And it says, impeached and removed after the 2026 midterms, cardiac arrest, shot out of a cannon, one-way ticket to Florida, the old-fashioned way. And as you can see, yeah, he's not a conservative. He's also not mentally stable, which is generally a criteria to be a loony leftist. So I responded. The same way he left last time, a booming economy and no new wars with you loony leftists losing your freaking minds. And then I my book, in From Jobs to Justice, the Trump Era Examined, the complexities of transformative administration are meticulously unraveled, offering readers an unprecedented look into the economic and social landscape of America during Donald Trump's presidency. This comprehensive analysis scrutinizes pivotal themes such as economic growth, job creation, and the intricate interplay between policy and public sentiment, delving deep into the statistics that define this era. Each chapter presents a nuanced exploration of unemployment rates across diverse demographics, wage fluctuations, and the impact of tax reforms. From unprecedented job satisfaction metrics to the ripple effect of deregulation, the work highlights both achievements and challenges faced by American workers. Rich with empirical data and insightful commentary, this book serves as an essential resource for understanding the multifaceted implications of Trump's policies in various sectors, from healthcare to national security. Discover how these policies shape today's America and what lessons they hold for the future. Embark on this enlightening journey through a pivotal chapter in recent history. Your exploration begins here. Normally, I put at the end of that, triggered leftists in 3, 2, 1. Just a update on, was it 3-4 days ago? Had a car accident, motorcycle accident. I guess in Brazil, you're just supposed to know when you're supposed to stop, because if you saw the road, you would say this isn't a main road. It's Brazil, third world country. But I was driving down one of what we would call a side street, almost an alley, and I guess it's a main road, but they didn't put up stop signs, so they tell you to stop. You're just supposed to know. I did slow down because even where there's stop signs, they don't stop, so I slowed down. If I hadn't slowed down, the guy would have missed me, but I went through the intersection and he hit the backside of my car, and he was obviously speeding because he almost tore the bumper off my car. No major injuries, some scrapes, obviously, but now I'm basically right thing to do. I'm having his bike fixed. 3,400 reals to have a motor. He'll have basically a new motorcycle with 184,000 kilometers on it. So whatever. Yeah. Welcome to Brazil. Driving in Brazil. Made it to 57 years in the United States. Not one single accident. Get to Brazil. Yeah, can't pull it off with this equipment. I do so love when the people who groom, castrate, and murder children point out when conservatives get arrested for crimes against children. Actually, the conservative in question had child pornography on his computer, so he actually didn't commit crimes against children. Disgusting enough, yes, and he should go to prison. However, we're not the people grooming, castrating, and murdering children. 72 million children since Roe v. Wade was first made into law by the Supreme Court, which is not the Supreme Court's job, it's Congress's job, which is why Roe v. Wade was sent back to the states under the 10th Amendment. As should gay marriage. Me personally, I don't think government should have anything to do with marriage. It was started by the church, and it should go back to the church. The government should have nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, if you really want to get married or give someone half your shit, go to an attorney and draw up a contract. That's basically what marriage is. It's a contract between two people. That's the way they do it in Brazil. First, you do the contract. You swear an oath to each other in front of a government official, and they have different types of marriage. For example, in the type that Sandriana and I got, she only gets my last name if we split up. She doesn't get any money or assets. Not that I have any. So you can choose which type of marriage you want to do. Pretty much like an LLC. Anyway, these fools just look desperate to me. Oh, look at the conservative committed a crime. Compared to the crimes committed in blue cities, it's a drop in the bucket. You just look desperate.
Are you fucking getting it yet?
Okay, having been in martial arts and having done a little professional wrestling, I'm going to make my comments about this Jackson assault. If you cannot control your emotions at a frickin' professional wrestling match, you're not a professional fighter. You're a street thug who happened to get paid a couple times to be a street thug in front of a crowd. If this jackoff's father wasn't who he is, he'd be sitting in a jail cell, right where he should be. People keep calling him a professional fighter. Stop! He's not. He's a street thug who got lucky a couple times because of who his dad is and got to be a street thug in front of a bunch of people. So I say to law enforcement, put this trained street thug in jail. If that were me, I'd already be sitting in a jail cell. Dickheads like this are the reason when you defend yourself and you have to go to court, your defense attorney will literally tell you not to tell him you're a black belt because idiot thugs like this. And if you don't like what I just said,
fuck off past the deer stand.
Recent reports indicate that Democrats are losing ground, with 1.2 million registered voters leaving the Democrat Party, while Republicans have gained 1.4 million. This isn't just a statistic, it's a wake-up call. First, let's talk about why this is happening. Many voters feel disconnected from the Democratic Party's message and priorities. For example, consider the struggles of working-class families who are facing rising costs of living but don't see effective solutions coming from the Democratic Party. When they fail to address their concerns directly, they look elsewhere for representation. I guess even Democratic voters want solutions instead of just screaming Trump is Hitler. Next, they need to engage their base more effectively. There's a growing disillusionment among younger voters, especially those who supported the Democrats in previous elections. A recent survey showed that only 30% of millennials feel represented by Democratic Party policies. If the Democrats don't actively listen to their voices and incorporate some ideas into their platform, they risk losing not just their votes, but their faith in democracy itself. So you mean to tell me hiring an obese woman to talk to Gen X men didn't work? I hope they don't listen to me at all. I hope they keep doing exactly what they're doing. Finally, they have to emphasize unity within their party. The division among various factions can be detrimental to their cause. Take the recent primary debates as an example. Instead of showcasing diverse viewpoints as strengths, they often turned into disagreements that left many voters feeling alienated. They need to come together with a clear and unified message that resonates with all demographics within their party. You mean boys can be girls and girls can be boys isn't working? You mean supporting slavery through human trafficking and illegal immigration isn't working? You mean screaming Trump is Hitler over and over isn't working? I hope you don't listen to me. I hope you double down on stupid. So as I mentioned yesterday in one of my videos, Trump signed an executive order making flag burning a crime. Now, I don't care if you burn a flag as long as you bought it. However, after Trump signed the executive order, some fat slob claiming to be a veteran decided to go in front of the White House to set a flag on fire. Let me explain something to you. Even if it hadn't been a flag he had set on fire, they would have arrested him. Why? Because he's an idiot that didn't know you can't commit arson in front of the White House. However, thanks to Trump signing the executive order, they can now charge him with flag burning on top of arson. If they ever make being an idiot a capital offense, we're going to free up some highway space real fast.
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down to cracking your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress.
We're diving into a powerful moment that unfolded recently when Abrego Garcia was arrested by ICE. His two-word declaration, corrupt government, has sparked widespread discussion and raised critical questions about immigration, rights, and accountability. Abrego Garcia left his home country, seeking a better life in America, often seen as the land of opportunity. Yet, upon being arrested, he uttered the words corrupt government in Spanish. So, all these years he was here illegally, he didn't learn English. Makes you wonder how he was making his money. He was accused of trafficking and being a member of a gang that deals drugs. Listen, as a legal immigrant to one of their countries, I'm tired of hearing this jackoff's name. Drop him in Antarctica for all I care. As a matter of fact, every leftist that lectures me on immigration from this moment on, as a legal immigrant, I should be able to take their name, give it to ICE, and they can be dropped in Antarctica as well. The cumulative IQ of the country would go up exponentially. Garcia's demeanor during his arrest suggested a sense of entitlement that many found astounding. His actions seemed to communicate that he belonged here, despite being an illegal alien with serious allegations against him. This feeling isn't isolated. It reflects a broader narrative where some individuals believe they can bypass legal systems without consequence. For instance, think about how activists and politicians rallied around him, portraying him almost as a victim rather than someone facing credible charges. This raises another crucial point. How do we balance compassion with the rule of law? Well, that's simple. You take him before a judge and a jury, they convict him, and you either deport him or you put him to death. As discussions continue around Garcia's case, it's worth noting the ongoing debate about rights for illegal aliens versus citizens' rights. There shouldn't be a debate if you have an IQ above a turnip. Some argue that individuals like Garcia seem to have more protections than law-abiding citizens, a sentiment echoed by many frustrated Americans who feel their voices are being overlooked in favor of those who break the rules. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This has nothing to do with this idiot. This has to do with a bunch of loony leftist idiots who hate Donald Trump. Why do they hate Donald Trump? Because like a lot of people, Donald Trump saw the writing on the wall and left the Democrat Party. Now he's outing their corruption and they don't like it. For example, recent cases have shown delays in deportations due to legal loopholes or court interventions, further complicating our immigration system and leading many to question fairness and justice.
Fuck off, past the newsstand!
So I replied to this post on Facebook about DEI. It said if you oppose DEI, you should have to use the full phrase instead of the letters. Be brave and say, I oppose diversity, equity, and inclusion. Bonus points if you admit which part of it you don't like. Making an acronym transforms it into a thought-terminating cliche from now on. Be proud of your opinions, but be specific. Let everyone know if it's diversity you don't like, or if it's equity, or if it's being inclusive. Okay, DEI, didn't earn it. Happy? Then I got some idiot, Eduardo Galicia. So I responded with, okay, DEI didn't earn it. Happy. This Eduardo responded. I have to start that over. I'm not going to re-edit all this stuff all over again. I think everybody here knows now I'm reading a teleprompter. And my computer went haywire. So I replied to this post on Facebook about DEI. It said if you oppose DEI, you should have to use the full phrase instead of the letters. Be brave and say, I oppose diversity, equity, and inclusion. Bonus points if you admit which part of it you don't like. Making it an acronym transforms it into a thought-terminating cliche. From now on, be proud of your opinions, but be specific. Let everyone know if it's diversity you don't like, or if it's equity, or if it's being inclusive. So I responded with, okay, DEI, didn't earn it. Happy? Eduardo Galicia responded with, sounds about white. I replied, sounds about dumb. Of course, I'm kind of tired of these loony leftists not reading my profile and opening the old standby, you're racist! So I responded with, how about you tell that to my Brazilian wife, you fucking moron? Do you know who's upset about the loss of DEI? A bunch of mediocre losers like you, who obviously can't read a Facebook profile, idiot. By the way, I'm against all three. As far as diversity, everybody's an American. We should all share pretty similar values if you apply common sense. Equity, equality of outcome, it's not possible. Due to lack of equality in intelligence, ambition, physical strength, stamina, a whole slew of other things, your outcomes are not going to be equal, or I'd be playing for the NBA. Inclusion, I get to hang out with who I want to hang out with. If you're getting hired or into college based on your skin color and you don't have a problem with that, you're a racist. Doing anything based on race, gender, sexual orientation, not character, not merit, is racism or sexism. Pick one. Get over it. The only people upset that they're not getting special treatment based on some skin color, sexual orientation, or the fact they have a vagina are mediocre losers that I wouldn't want to talk to anyway.
Fuck off, past the newsstand!
If Trump fails and America crashes and burns, how does that help the Democrats? It's a question worth exploring because while they may seem to revel when something doesn't go as planned, it's crucial to understand the broader implications for our nation. First, let's talk about change. Many Democrats believe that a Trump failure could pave the way for their vision of progress. They argue that if he stumbles, it highlights the need for new leadership that aligns with their values. For instance, look at how they've rallied around issues like health care reform and climate action. In recent elections, these topics have gained traction as people express frustration with the status quo. However, it raises an important question. Does celebrating another's downfall truly lead to constructive change? Second, there's the idea of unity among Democrats against a common enemy. It's easier to unify when you have someone like Trump to rally against. His presidency has ignited passion among voters who feel marginalized or threatened by his policies. Take the surge in voter registration among young people and minorities during his term. Many felt compelled to stand up against what they saw as an attack on their rights and values. Yet this begs another question. Is unity built on opposition sustainable? What happens when the enemy is gone? Lastly, we must consider the consequences of a potential failure, both for Trump and America as a whole. If America were indeed to crash and burn due to political strife or economic collapse linked to his administration's decisions, it wouldn't just hurt Republicans, it would impact everyone, Democrats included. For example, look at how the pandemic affected all facets of society regardless of party affiliation. Economic downturns don't discriminate based on political beliefs. So why would anyone celebrate such devastation?
Are you fucking getting it yet?
I want to talk about a troubling trend we're seeing in California politics. It's a story of desperation, manipulation, and a link some will go to cling to power. Recently, Governor Gavin Newsom attempted to revive his political image through a podcast and flashy gestures, but nothing seemed to resonate. In his desperation, he's now turned to gerrymandering, manipulating district lines to diminish Republican representation. For instance, he aims to shrink GOP congressional seats from 9 down to just 4. This isn't about fairness, it's about erasing opposition from the map entirely. Newsom justifies this move by claiming it benefits people of color. He argues that redistricting will better represent diverse communities. However, the reality is that while he wants to redraw lines under the guise of equity, he refuses to sacrifice any Democratic seats in the process. Instead of true representation for all Californians, it seems like a tactic designed purely for political gain. As public support wanes and polls turn against him, Newsom's tactics reveal a deeper desperation within the left, with big donors pulling back and even voters growing skeptical. He resorts to extreme measures rather than genuine engagement with constituents. His gamble on gerrymandering exposes not only his own fears, but also highlights a broader trend here where political power is maintained at any cost, even if it means dismantling democratic institutions that were once seen as progressive reforms. Since the Looney left want to lecture me about Brazil, where I live, and a country they've never been to, I might as well plug a book about the political journey of Brazil. From its colonial past to the vibrant democracy it is today, Brazil's political evolution is rich and complex. If you want to understand how history has shaped modern Brazil, I invite you to explore The Political History of Brazil by Shawn Armstrong, yours truly. Let's embark on this journey together. Brazil's political story begins in the 16th century when it was a Portuguese colony. During this period, the government was centralized under the crown, which meant that local leaders had limited power. For instance, the establishment of captaincies in 1534 aimed to streamline control but often led to conflicts among settlers and indigenous populations. This early tension laid the groundwork for future struggles over autonomy and governance. Fast forward to 1822, when Brazil declared independence from Portugal. This moment was pivotal, however, it didn't lead straight to democracy. Instead, Brazil became an empire under Dom Pedro I. His reign saw attempts at modernization, but also faced significant opposition, leading to his abdication in 1831. The subsequent years were marked by instability as various factions vied for power, a theme that would echo throughout Brazilian politics for decades. The transition from monarchy to republic in 1889 marked another turning point. Yet, democracy wasn't easily achieved. The military coup in 1964 plunged Brazil into a dictatorship that lasted 2 decades. It wasn't until the late 1980s that democratic elections returned, culminating in the current framework we see today. An active participation of citizens and a more robust civil society shaping policies and governance. As we can see through these key points, the colonial beginnings, imperial struggles for independence, and finally embracing democracy, Brazil's political journey is not just about dates and events, it's about people fighting for their rights and shaping their nation. I'll put the links to my books in the description. So some loony leftist on Facebook posted this gem like it's a burn. Ouch! Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi rejected President Trump call 4 times in recent weeks. Another humiliation from Donald. My response? Oh no, you mean the people that wiped their asses with their hand didn't return Donald Trump's call? What will America do with an extra $151 million? The amount of foreign aid the United States provides to India varies each year. In fiscal year 2023, the U.S. committed $154.5 million in foreign aid to India. USAID dispersed $175 million to India in 2023. As of December 19, 2024, $151 million had been dispersed to India for 2024. This aid is generally for economic purposes, with a small portion dedicated to military purposes. Key areas where aid has been directed include health, especially tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS programs, economic development, and environmental initiatives. It's important to note that data on foreign aid can experience reporting lags, potentially taking up to 2 years to be fully reported. Some sources indicate a decrease in USAID funding to India in recent years, particularly since the pandemic. There's also been discussion about potential U.S. foreign policy shifts impacting foreign aid, such as the Trump administration's executive order terminating foreign aid, though its precise implications and final status require further clarification.
Are you fucking getting it yet?
Ever since I've promoted my books on monotheism and ancient Christianity and the Book of Revelation, I've been getting a bunch of Catholic stuff in my YouTube feed. I'm not Catholic. I'm non-denominational. You have a book? Read it. Learn from it. I'm also not a zealot. Religious zealots are how you end up having people put bombs on kids to go out and kill other people. I don't discuss my religious beliefs with anyone else. I wrote a book on it. It's a historical book. It does mention specific scriptures. Both books do, because that's what the books are based on. So if you want to know more about religion, go buy those 2 books. But I'm not Catholic. Actually, I've written 3 books. There's one on C.S. Lewis, very good book, covering his transformation from atheist to Christian apologist. We've just had another mass shooting in Minneapolis. I think anyone who targets children should be taken alive and then tortured to death slowly. Of course, the Looney left will very shortly, if they have not already started, I haven't been checking, screaming about an inanimate object, or 3. He was carrying a shotgun, a rifle, and a handgun. According to reports, as soon as the police showed up, he voluntarily ceased to exist. You have to watch what you say on YouTube. I don't know why this is still happening, though. YouTube has banned most firearms videos. We should all be safe by now. Gun violence is a pressing issue that sparks heated debates across America. While opinions clashed over gun control, we often overlook the deeper societal factors contributing to this violence. Today, let's explore those roots and understand how mental health, education, and societal narratives shape behavior. One of the most alarming trends we see today is the escalating mental health crisis among our youth. Reports indicate that depression and anxiety are at unprecedented levels among children and adolescents. When these mental health challenges go unaddressed, they can lead to violent behaviors. Instead of focusing on gun control alone, we should advocate for better mental health resources, such as counseling programs in schools or community support groups. By addressing these issues head-on, we can help prevent violence before it occurs. Another crucial factor in understanding violence is the role of our educational institutions. Critics argue that schools are increasingly focused on social justice and gender identity at the expense of teaching personal accountability. While promoting inclusivity is essential, there's a risk that some curricula could inadvertently foster confusion or resentment among students. For example, when schools emphasize systemic racism without discussing personal responsibility or resilience, they may cultivate a victim mentality rather than empowering students. This could lead to feelings of hopelessness that manifest as aggression or even violence. Lastly, let's talk about our approach to mental health treatment, specifically the over-reliance on medication. Today's youth are among the most medicated generations in history. While antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications have their place, an over-reliance on quick fixes can inhibit emotional development. If we prioritize pills over meaningful conversations about resilience and coping strategies, we risk raising individuals who struggle to manage their emotions constructively. This inability to cope with life's challenges could lead them down paths where violence seems like the only option. Understanding gun violence requires us to look beyond just firearms and examine the societal influences at play. We need to address mental health crises, rethink educational priorities, and promote healthy coping mechanisms for our youth. So, folks, I'm going to wrap this up. I have to take a shower. I'm going to cut my hair to go out for my birthday tonight. So, peace out. I'll put the links to the books in the description, the book on Brazil, because the Looney Left dude wants to lecture me on Brazil as I'm looking at Brazil out my window here. It's right there, the window, and there's Brazil right behind the window. There's bars on the window, and I have a courtyard with a gate because they don't let, well, I can own a gun, actually. If I wanted to apply, I could own one because I'm a veteran. But, yeah, Brazil's right there. Could someone, I think his name is Mark? Mark. Brazil's right there. I'd pick up the camera, but it's attached to the computer. But, yeah, it's right there. Mark. So, peace out, folks. I'm going to be going out for my birthday tonight, and hopefully, you know, peace out, and I'll probably do another video tomorrow while the wife's at work, so be looking for it.